Journal entry for Tuesday, March 31st. Recovering, still sick, but getting better. I'm going to try to cover this quickly like I always say, but who knows. So, when I got up, I was going to head to the soup kitchen. I was going to stop at my booth first. And, yeah, I was just going to stop at the booth for a minute, drop some things off I priced, and then go to the soup kitchen. As soon as I go to leave, someone has placed, they're not flip-flops, but they're slides, in my driveway. A pair of shoes sitting in my driveway. And I walk towards it and I look at it, but I don't touch them. And then, like, less than a block down is a black SUV. It looks new, it looks expensive. So maybe it's not new, but it's expensive and it's clean. And then, as soon as I walk to the shoes and stand next to them and look at them, then the SUV drives off. It speeds off. So it was sitting there, making sure that no one else took the shoes. I came in and looked at them. I didn't touch them. They're still, as far as I know, they're still in my driveway. And now I have to be careful not to touch them, because I'm sure they're cursed. But I don't know how that counts. How are they allowed to put something on my property that's cursed? So this is the type of thing the kingdom of darkness does, and maybe this is training from the Lord too. I'm ready to leave, and there's just a pair of shoes right there like a present for me in my driveway. And this is right the way I leave. They know I leave on the driveway on my bicycle, so that's why it wasn't right in front of my house. And there was somebody sitting there. They were sitting there waiting for me to leave. Like, I don't know. I don't say I hope, but they're probably getting paid to do this. So I don't like that. So when I got to the soup kitchen, there was a witch there who started coming like a few weeks ago. And she doesn't directly look at me, but I know she's there just to spy on me. I even stayed late, and most people had gone, but she still waited there as long as I was there. So I know there was a witch there watching me. I wasn't like late, but because I stopped at my booth, I was maybe like 15 minutes. So they start serving food at 11:30. I maybe got there at 11:45. And the woman from the other soup kitchen, who I don't know if she likes me or not. I thought she did, but when she's around other people, she doesn't like me. So I don't know if their demons are influencing her or if she's lying to me. But anyway, she was standing right by the door. And when I was parking my bike, I didn't notice, but she's like, "Oh, hello." She said hello to me. And she said, "The food's good today." And she said, "Did you get $20? I said, "No." Somebody was in there giving out $20. And apparently they used to do this all the time. And then they kind of stopped, like maybe someone got sick. But now, maybe every few months, someone will come in and just hand out $20 bills. Like they give out a bunch of money. And this has happened several times since I've been going to the soup kitchen. But it never happens when I'm there. So sometimes I'm there right on time. And occasionally I'll be there a little later. Today I was like 15 minutes after they started serving food. So, and I was like, are they still giving them out? And so probably not. But anyways, and I said, oh, nothing's for free. And if God had wanted me, if God had wanted me to get this $20, I would have. But I think this is another attack because they know when I'm not there right at 11:30 or I'm not there at 11:35. Like then they give out the $20 bills at 11:35. and then I'm there at 11:45. So this is just the type of thing they do. So I don't get it. But it's also possible this was a payoff, giving them more money to come after me. And there was a target. This woman does not normally go, she does not normally come to this side of town and go to this soup kitchen. But I noticed, I think she has another son, and a son that looks a lot like the one that was arrested. And they didn't tell me, but I saw him, and he looked a lot like his brother. So then I asked them, and it was confirmed. This is her son, and he did go to the soup kitchen a couple times since the other son had not been going. So I think she was going to the other soup kitchen, and her son was watching me, but then he got arrested. And so her other son went a few times, and I'd never seen him there before. So I thought this was suspicious. So I don't know. Like, she does seem to like me, but there were some things I noticed that might not have been 100% truthful. I don't know. She seemed... I don't know. She seemed like we could have got along, but it could just be another trick. Her family doesn't seem to like me very much, so I don't know. But anyways, but she said, "Oh, the food's good today, and did you get the $20?" If she didn't tell me, I wouldn't know. They gave out $20, but because she told me, then I knew. Oh, I missed the $20 because I was there at 11:45 instead of 11:30. But they wouldn't have given it out that day probably if I was there, because they've never given out the money while I was there. So I think they coordinate this, and it's paying off their minions. Maybe I'm wrong, or they just make sure to give the money out when I'm not there just to get me. But anyways, now I'm rambling too much. It's almost 2 in the morning. I have to hurry up and record this. So then I saw the woman from the church. I hadn't seen her in a long time. I hadn't seen her in a couple months. And then she was there, and she said, "Hello, Jennifer," and she was nice. And I said hello to her. And she says, "Oh, how are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, it's a lot." I said, "I'm doing good, but it's a lot." And I just mentioned someone sprayed my dogs with skunk spray. And she said, "Why would someone do that?" And I said, "There's a lot of witches." But anyways, she seemed like she was being nice. And of course, I pray that God inspire me what to say. I pray that God order my steps. I usually do this. So what was done was what was meant to be. But by going up to her and saying what I said, I might have not ruined the relationship, but deteriorated it a little bit. I don't know. But then if that would have happened, it was never real. Because we don't see each other much. Maybe only like once a month or something. Maybe less than that. So, and I think she's a good person, but it's possible she's another enemy, and I just don't know. But anyways, I went through the line, and I was told there was good food. Well, maybe they had good food, and it was gone when I got there. The applesauce was good. They had donuts. I am sick. I don't like donuts. They just like taste kind of bland and gross. So I said, "No, I don't want a donut." And I said, "I don't like donuts." I wasn't rude, but I said I don't like donuts. And then, so now they know that they can serve more donuts. They put a bread on my plate, which I've not been eating the buns since I got a moldy bread. Then I really am not interested in eating any buns at the soup kitchen. I don't eat them now. Other people can eat them. I'm not going to. So then it didn't look like there was a lot of food out. Oh, they had some fruit. Or it was applesauce. Yeah, applesauce. I didn't get a donut. They had some peas. I got some peas. And there was like something with pork in it. And then they had the fried stuff. And instead of being on the side, it was behind the counter. And some of it was pork. And some of it was turkey. And so then I thought in my head, okay, then this is going to pollute the turkey. So I'll take the turkey. But then I thought the turkey is cooked in the same vat of oil as the pork. So possibly those spirits are going to be in the food. Um, so I think this is just another learning experience from the Lord, because possibly I was exposed to these pork spirits. So I basically just had like applesauce, and then there was peas. And if I didn't get the fried turkey, then that's all I would have had. And the fried turkey was cooked in the same oil as the fried pork, and they looked very similar. So they might have tricked me again. And I thought about it. Should I eat this or not? Should I not eat it? I just get some applesauce and some peas. And it wasn't very much. They don't give you extra. So I thought, this isn't what I would normally wouldn't eat this. But there's just not very much food. And so when she said the food was good, maybe it was good and now it's all gone. Or maybe she liked the pork. But I don't eat pork. And then I went to the side table and there was a little soup. Possibly there was pork in that. But so the woman that I knew from the church, who was nice to me, was there. And she said, oh, it's like turkey or chicken or something. And she said that, and I said, okay, I'll take it. Because I asked her, what's the soup? And I wasn't sure. Maybe there's pork in there. Probably not. It was probably chicken. But there's still a chance that there was pork in that. I don't even know. And then there maybe was some more fried. Yeah, there's more fried stuff. And so I'll take the fried chicken too. The fried chicken was also fried in the same oil as the pork. So none of this was kosher. This was not kosher. I think this was a learning experience from the Lord. Because had I refused everything I was unsure about, I would have only had peas and applesauce. And then I got a water and I sat down. And then I just wasn't really happy that the food wasn't as pure as I normally like. And I did also miss the $20. I wasn't crying about it or anything, but no, I was just a little disappointed. Just a little bit. But I trusted, and I also thought, if God wanted me to have this money, I would have gotten it. There has to be some strings attached. There's something else going on as to why they only give this out when I'm not there. And maybe they will be judged and God will bless me more later. Because they're doing this on purpose so I don't get any money. And they give money to the homeless people that are buying cigarettes and they're buying drugs. I don't go and ask for this. And I'm the person that would actually need it. Has people target me all the time. But anyways, this is sometimes I do get a little mad. And it's not even jealousy. It's sometimes I get mad. And I get mad because other people oh, I need money, I can't pay my bill. And then I see on YouTube, then they just get $500 in donations come in. And, I can't get anything. And when they give out $20 bills to everybody in the soup kitchen, then I never get it. I never get anything. It's I get it the worst. I get it worse than everybody else. So, yeah, that pisses me off sometimes, actually. But I didn't let it get me too angry. But I'm thinking that the pork spirits probably made me a little more angry than normal today. I think that I did get a transference of spirits. So then this woman, who was nice to me, and I thought was an ally. I thought was somebody that was good. Well, now I'm not sure. I still think she's good, but I don't know. Well, anyway, she had a tray with pancakes on it. And she comes up to me first and she's like, hey, do you want some pancakes? They looked really good. I said, oh, yeah. And she put one on and put syrup. It looked really good, but I noticed a couple of little dark specks on it. And then I saw there was a whole row of pancakes, and it wasn't on the other ones. The one on the top, it was on that one. That was mine. So my pancake had a couple of little specks in it. You normally wouldn't think anything about this, but with me, I have to be careful. They just poisoned the food last night. So then I thought, oh, the other pancakes, there was maybe 10 pancakes there. The other ones don't have these specks. The one she gave me was the one right on top, and it did. And I thought maybe she came to me first because she liked me. She seemed to like me. So anyways, I started eating it. And then I saw a little black speck, and I picked it out and set it aside. Maybe it was nothing. And then I'm kind of I'm being careful when I'm eating it, kind of looking, just to make sure there's nothing in it. And then Then I find a screw. There is a tiny screw in my pancake. And I take it off with my fork and I put it on the edge of my tray. A tiny screw, well, maybe it was a little nail. A tiny nail. It was hard, like when I poked it with the fork, it felt like metal. And it was like black. And so, and I rolled it around and just to make sure it wasn't something else. It felt hard like metal. It was shaped like a small screw. It was like that long. It was tiny, like bigger than the ones that go in eyeglasses, but small like that. There was a tiny screw or nail in my pancake, and there was a few other little black specks in there. And so then I got my tray and I went up to this woman and I said, "Do you know who made these pancakes?" And she told me the name of the man in the back. And I said, "There's a screw and metal shavings in my pancake." And so maybe it looks like that. I said, "And this is a screw." And I rolled it. I said, "Right." And she saw it. And I said, um, and she said something, and she wasn't like saying no, but this is kind of hard to believe someone would do this on purpose. I can understand, especially someone that she knows that probably goes to the same church. And she said, "Oh, he's a good a church like God, a believing church man. He's a good man that goes to church." And I said, "A lot of people that go to church try to kill me all the time." And I said, "They mess with my food every day. They just tried to poison my food yesterday." And I wasn't like real mean, but I was stern and I was a little bit loud when I said this. I said, "There's a screw right here and metal shavings in my pancake." And I said, "This would have been good, but now I can't eat it." And she said, "Well, probably, or maybe like it looks like it, or and it's something else, or he wouldn't do it on purpose. He's a good God believing, like God. He's a good Christian man, something like." And I said, "Christians try to kill me." I said, "They try to kill me all the time." So I don't know if she's an enemy. I thought she's a good person. And this is just kind of out there. It's kind of hard to believe. But I brought the evidence. I brought the tray and I showed her the little screw. But actually, it could have been a little nail. It was like black and it was very hard, like metal, and I rolled it. And then one of the volunteers comes up and they overhear and they go to grab it. And then I pull my tray away and I said, "No, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this for my records or for my journal or something." And I walk away. And so this probably has, I don't want to say ruined my relationship with this woman. But if she doesn't like me anymore because of this, then it was never meant to be. Anyways, me telling her this might get her to talk to somebody else. And maybe this will lead to some vindication. I don't know. But she might just think I'm crazy. But if she talks to maybe the pastor, who I have mentioned that I am targeted by witches and covens, then maybe he will mention something like that as well. I don't know. But it did look like a screw or nail. And so then I get back to my seat and I get a napkin because I'm going to wrap this up in a napkin and take it with me. And then it was hard like metal. And now when I pick it up, it feels like a stem, like off of a tree, like some type of harder than a grape stem. So like a little branch or something. So it was hard, very hard like metal. And then I pick it up with my fingers and it's a little flexible and it's like a stem. It's stronger than a grape stem. It's maybe like a stem or something off a tree, but it looked exactly like a nail or a screw. And then I wrapped it up and I put it in my bag and I went to take a shower at the soup kitchen because the kingdom of darkness has broken my house and broken my plumbing and broken my roof and nobody will help. And the charities have narcissists and none of them help me. And they only pass out these $20 bills when I'm not there. So I think I got some transference of pork spirits today. Because I even thought, oh, they brought this pancake. This looks amazing. I should have trusted God and rejected. I should have rejected this fried turkey because it was fried in the same vat as the pork. I shouldn't have got it because, look, God provided for me anyways. But then, once I started eating it, I noticed some black dots, and I picked it out, and then I noticed a screw. A screw. I thought it was a screw, but then I looked, it could have been a nail shaped like a screw, and it was very hard like metal. And then it feels like a little branch, and it's a little flexible. And so I'm like, was I wrong? Was I wrong? And so then I fold it up in a napkin, and I put it in my bag, and I go to take my shower. I go to take my shower at the soup kitchen. Now, after I take my shower, and this room, they got chairs in there, so I sit my stuff on the chair, and I got a big bag, and it's got my smaller bag in it, it's got my clothes. So I dry off, I get dressed, and then I thought, I'm going to look at this screw or branch or whatever it is. I'm going to look at it again. It was perfect. It was perfectly shaped like a screw. But it might not have had the twists on it. It might have been like it might have been like a nail shaped like a screw, but it was perfect. And I have very good vision looking up close. And so I thought, I'm going to look at this again before I go out there. I take it and I open up the napkin. The napkin that I put the screw in. At first it felt like metal and it was black. And then it was black and it was a little flexible and it felt like a little stick. And then I open up the napkin and then it is bright red. It looks like blood. The stick or the screw, and actually I'm just going to say a nail. I think it was a nail because I didn't see the threads on it. It was just the shape of a screw. So it was an oddly shaped tiny nail. It was gone. When I opened up the napkin, it was like bright red blood. It was bright red blood. This is some type of witchcraft spell here. So when I opened it up, like if you've seen like if a tooth comes out and there's blood on it and it's a little sticky and it's like a kind of goo where like it kind of coagulates and it kind of stays together. It's not real liquidy. It was exactly the appearance of bright red blood, like if your teeth were bleeding. And then it was, when I opened up the napkin, it was going from one side to the other. So when I opened up the napkin, like the blood was going like that. And it was stuck to both sides. It behaved like blood, and it was bright red, like fresh blood. And there was no more nail, and it was gone. There was no more nail. The nail turned into what looked like blood. And when I opened it, it moved like blood. And it was bright red. So I don't know what this is. But now I'm thinking about it. And I'm thinking about how they're mentioning the crucifixion over and over again. And the crucifixion of Christ to get their way into heaven. And all those that follow the Pauline doctrine that is I believe now probably, I know there could be many antichrists. But if there is only one antichrist, it's probably Paul. It's probably Paul, and he is a weak beta male. It's probably Paul, because this is what most Christians worship. And they believe that the suffering and crucifixion of Christ gets them to heaven. It is black magic, whether they know it or not. The Spirit's operating through them. Now I noticed this little, I thought it was a screw at first, but then it didn't have the spirals on it. So it was a nail. It was hard like metal, and it was black. And then it turned into bright red blood when I opened it up. And this is like a half hour later. Like a half hour later, it turned into bright red blood, and it was a black nail, and it turned into blood. I can't make this up. How can I make this up? What kind of witchcraft does this? What kind of magic is this? I don't know. I was going to take it with me, and I opened it up, and it turned into blood. Like if you pulled a tooth out of your mouth and there was a string of blood hanging. It was like that between the sides of the napkin when I unfolded it. And actually, I went back home, so that was lunch. And then I went back home after dinner, this is 4 or 5 hours later. I opened up the napkin, and then there was just a little bit, and it was like a red stain on the napkin. So it like all the goo was gone. It was just like this stain, like the color. So like the water had evaporated, but the blood color was on the napkin. But it was just a little bit, and there was no nail. So what was Jesus was hammered onto the cross with the nail. I don't know what kind of symbol this is. Easter's coming up. They were trying very hard to get me before Easter. So I think this was a little sign. I can't make this up. This was wild. Like, I swear to God. I mean, and you're not supposed to swear. Okay, you're not supposed to swear to God. So I accidentally just said that real quick. I have to work on that because you're not supposed to swear on the heavens or the earth or things you don't own. But I'm just saying, like, like if I say I put my hand on the Bible and I swore on the Bible, well, I don't believe all of it isn't from God. But anyways, some of it is. So I put my hand on the Bible and I swear. This looked exactly like I thought was a screw, but actually didn't have the spiral, so it was a nail. And it was hard. I poked it with a fork. It was like metal. And then it turned into blood. It turned into blood. And then the blood evaporated. It was just red stains left on the napkin. It didn't turn brown. It stayed red. I don't even know like how you could make fake blood look like this, but how can you make a nail that turns into fake blood? So I don't know what this was. And I don't have the imagination. Seriously, I mean, I do have imagination, but like, I'm making these videos every day. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, it is harder to make this up than to just, for this to really happen. Let's see, so I did see the homeless, the kind of violent. Oh, actually, when I was in the soup kitchen, someone started yelling and making a bunch of noise and making crazy noises, and they were behind me, and I ignored it because when you look at it, you engage with the spirit. So I was trained to ignore it, so I just ignored it. Other people like looked and stuff. I didn't. I assume this is an attack on me. They don't have much time left, and it probably he was speaking a spell. So I think I returned to sender or rebuked this. I said, if this is a spell, rebuke this, reject. Because he's saying gibberish, but it could be some voodoo curse. Because they're really trying to get me. Okay, so I saw the violent homeless man with the puppies outside. Or I saw him when I was coming in. And apparently he had some other stuff and it got stolen. I said, of course it did. Of course it did. Yeah, the staff did try to take the little screw. They tried to grab it, maybe to make sure it was a screw, but I think they were trying to take the evidence. Because they know people do stuff to me, and they didn't want me having that evidence, so they tried to grab it. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this. What kind of spell is that? And I just said screw at first. I didn't understand until it turned to blood, and then I thought about it for a minute, and it's like, oh no, this has to do with the Easter, the crucifixion, and the Passover. The Bible verse at the soup kitchen was Matthew 5:10. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And then, after I got out of the shower, I saw so the man who tried to hit on me yesterday, and then someone else who's always there, someone else there, we were talking about homeless needing a place to sleep and stuff. And I mentioned lockers. Like get some cots, get like some free lockers off of Facebook Marketplace. Well, they were carrying in some lockers. They were great condition, orange lockers, and they brought them into the soup kitchen, and they were installing it. Well, they didn't really need to be installed, but they were just setting them up and making sure everything was lined up. And then they had lockers there. And this was because they listened to me. This was so cool. It made me happy. That made me happy because I did tell this one man, he was like talking about like having a place. There are homeless people and there's only so many rooms at the homeless shelter. There's laws, or not laws, there's rules. So there's not enough rooms for everybody. You have to be in by 7. And believe it or not, there are some people that do drugs, and they would rather do the drug and live in a tent than go to the shelter. So I don't know. The shelter isn't a solution for everybody because what I've heard is they make people watch a lot of Christian movies, and they have to listen to a lot of sermons, and then they have to go to like these groups and like talk about talk about their feelings and stuff. So wouldn't you just rather have a job than be here? I don't know. It seems like this is a lot of work to get a room, that you have to listen to these sermons. There's 2 sermons a day. You get points to stay. You got to watch sermons, and you got to watch Christian movies. So I'm not saying I'm not saying this isn't good, but not everybody is going to do this, and there's just not enough seats for everyone. So for this reason, there are people still sleeping in tents. There are people sleeping under bridges. There's also people that want to go to the shelters, but the shelters allow pedophiles, so they don't go. There are people that are on the street, but they're married, and they separate married couples. So because of that, there's only one place that I guess allows families. They prioritize children. So if it's an older married couple, they sleep in their car or they stay outside because the shelter doesn't let them stay together. So there's reasons why. And we were talking about, and I said, and he was talking about getting beds and trying to rent someplace. And like, get cots and get lockers. You can do this real cheap. Cots and lockers. So the soup kitchen, this was the same man, and they were bringing it in. He remembered I mentioned lockers, and they brought lockers in. And this is great, because like, if I have to use the bathroom, or if I have to take a shower, and I have something I don't want to bring in there, like I don't want to bring my stuff into the bathroom stall. There's people on drugs. I see people go in there, go number 2, and they don't wash their hands. I don't want to bring my belongings in there. And if I leave it out in the soup kitchen, people will mess with it. Like, I actually left my shower bag unattended, and I was still like in the area. Somebody took a piece of toilet paper. They had like urinated and wiped themselves, and they put it in my shower bag because I left it unattended. So no, I can't leave. I got to carry everything. Like, I can't even go to the bathroom. No one can be trusted. So now that they have this locker, this is a blessing. I could bring a key with me, and I could use the bathroom. I could take a shower and not have to bring my coat and everything in there to get all wet. Like, I could put it in the locker. That's amazing. And there's other people that have stuff that gets stolen too. Like the man with the puppies, he was probably brought in. He said he recognized me from the other soup kitchen. They probably sent him here to target me, and they know I like puppies. But and that would draw me in to see those puppies. Yeah, it probably will, because there was an older woman that had a puppy, and then I'll go over to and I want to pet that puppy, but I put my hand near it, and she's like, "Oh, see," and she moved it away. It didn't growl, but she moved it away. She didn't want me to pet her dog. But the dog did nip at somebody else, but it wasn't nipping at me, and she pulled it away like it was going to, but it wasn't. The dog liked me. It didn't like the other person. Anyways, so I think like they brought this man, so he saw me from the other soup kitchen that's 3.5 miles away. And so then he is camped out at the soup kitchen that's closer to my house. And he's just staying on the side of the soup kitchen with these puppies. And so because of the puppies, then I want to come and pet the puppies and talk to them. And I did want to pet the puppies. But I know that he's violent, and he mentioned killing people that stole his dogs. So it's like I don't really have an interest in hanging out with this guy. But I think he is sent to get me. And they probably sent someone that's mentally unstable there. And then also I noticed in the soup kitchen, people were coming right next to me so that I would almost so it looked like I would ditch, because I had my water cup and I went to get my water and there was someone there. And then I filled it and I'm like, "Oh, sorry." And so I apologized just because I didn't know someone was there. Like, they come up right behind me, so I know what this is. This was a gang member. So most of the game's taken care of. They sent one gang member in, and he was near the water, so I grabbed my cup and I went to move and turn and fill up my water, and he was there. And I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I did say sorry." So maybe That wasn't disrespect. They're trying to, like, they stand in a way so you'll disrespect them, and that gives them the right to kill you or go after you. And then someone else, like, they stand up at the same time or something, so that, like, if you encroach on their personal space or do something rude or disrespectful, they're allowed to come after you. So, like, I was moving quick, got my cup, turned to get the water, and then I was, like, in front of the guy, and I'm like, oh, sorry. And so I did say sorry. So maybe that wasn't. Um, but anyways, this might have been the man speaking gibberish. They bring in a crazy man from the other soup kitchen who's homeless. And he's got puppies. Come pet the puppies. I did pet the puppies. Well, let's see what else is here. Give me a minute. Okay, so after my shower, I got a coffee, and I stayed a little bit. Like, there was some group at 2 o'clock. So the musician I've been speaking to, I missed last week's meeting because I was sick, and he was waiting for me to show up. So I was maybe like 20 minutes late, but it's supposed to last till 3. I showed up at about 2:20 or 2:22. 2:22, probably 2:22 when I got there. And then we talked. They were doing something for Easter, which I don't celebrate the pagan holidays. Like, I didn't even get anything. I didn't take part in any of this, and neither did he. He was sitting there, and then I show up, and the empty seat is right next to him. And I sit down, and we start talking, and we're making plans to meet up and stuff. And then at this group, there's new people that were never at this group before. So now I am not going. I think this could be God's karma too. So there's another center where my bike got vandalized twice, and they didn't want to check the security tapes, and they also poisoned my drink when I went there. So I decided I'm not going there. So then I'm only going to this other center where my bike has not been damaged at this center. They have a bike rack, and they actually have been nice to me there. So now I am only going to this one, and I'm not going to the other one. So now all the criminals and things, and all the witches, not all the criminals, the witches and things from some of the other groups or other people sent to get me are coming to this center. They're following me, so they're not going to the other one. And they're not going to have any people going to this one because they're coming to get me. So they're going to follow me where I go. Well, they didn't treat me right at this one center. They didn't treat me right there. So I didn't go there. I stopped going there. And all the people sent there to follow me are going to stop going there too. So anyways, there was people from, so the soup kitchen across town, the soup kitchen across on the other side of the railroad tracks by the gangs. And there's gangs like on my street too, but apparently like the gangs were on this other side. The worst gangs were over there, or they were there longer. I don't know. But anyways, I started going there. Then they're sending those people to the other soup kitchen, and they're just following me. They see me, and then they're told to follow me. So now I'm going to this group, and then there's people that were sent to the soup kitchen that just started going, and then a man from the other soup kitchen who never went to any of these recovery groups. So this is the man, remember yesterday, the volunteer at the soup kitchen on the other side of the railroad tracks. And he was emptying the coffee into a big cup. He said, "You got any left?" And then it turned out there was, and I got some. And then he brought me a half cup, and then he spoke about a dead robin. This volunteer. And he also watched me trying on the heels. He's probably unhappy. I'm getting free shoes. And, you know, they look pretty good. They fit. So he wasn't happy about it. Anyways, he followed me, and he heard I was going to be at this recovery meeting. He heard I was going to be at this recovery meeting. He has never been to them that I know of. He was there, and I showed up, and he watched me. And there's other people there. Some of them just sit there, and they have their cell phones out. They think they record me. They record what I say. They record what I say. Well, I said where I was going in my plans. They got that recorded. So maybe they were surprised. Here I am talking. I showed up. Whatever they poisoned me with, whatever disease or illness they gave me, I am mostly, and you know, maybe I'm still sick, but I'm not on my deathbed. And you couldn't necessarily even tell I was sick. I did cough a little bit. But for the most part, I didn't really look that sick. I maybe looked like I had a cold. So they had brought in people from that soup kitchen. They brought in people from the that just tried to get me at the soup kitchen near my house. They brought people from the soup kitchen on the other side of the tracks. And there was new people that never went to these groups. There was a lot of people. So they followed me. They were going to this group. And as soon as I show up, the woman, the hugger, I'll call her the hugger. She gives me a big hug. I think this is supposed to be an attack. And this is because there was one woman that doesn't wash her hands. She uses the bathroom and doesn't wash her hands. And then she touches everybody. And so after I mention this, then this woman gives me hugs because she thinks I'm a germaphobe. And I am a germaphobe with poop. That's true. When it comes to the bathroom, they know. I don't mess around. I wash my hands twice. So I don't want to touch the bathroom door. I want to use a napkin. They know that is me. I'm not going to be touching any poop. And so this got around. She always gives me a hug and makes sure to touch me a lot. I don't think she is... I don't think she goes to the bathroom without washing her hands, though. And so, and then there's all those people spying, some with their phones out. I think they record me a lot. They look like they're playing on their phone, but they're also recording me. So there's a new group that this man goes to at that same building on Friday. So I'm going to go to that. We're going to go meet up at a coffee house and try to play there. And I also told him at the library, because he said sometimes he goes to the library to use the internet. I said in the library you can rent laptops and the Wi-Fi. They have these like portable internet things. You can borrow those at our local library. I told him. He was happy to hear that. Anyways, then he just missed the. So we went out like a few minutes early. And I'm like, oh, they're hiding the eggs. He's like, oh, I noticed that. I said, I'm not doing any of this. He's like, he doesn't do it either. But I didn't think there were plastic eggs they put candy in and put stickers on and stuff. It's like, I'm not doing this pagan stuff. But I didn't say pagan stuff. I said, I just don't do that stuff. He said, I don't do it either. But then we were talking and getting along, and that was good. And the bus was there, and it was too far away. He's like, oh, I just missed the bus. I said, well, God does, everything happens for a reason. Maybe because he's trying to get more band members. Said maybe you'll meet someone to join the band while you're waiting for the next bus. He had to wait like a half hour. Now, because of the forecast, there was a bunch of storm clouds in the sky. He's like, I hope you don't get stuck in the rain. I don't know if this was a curse because I think he meant it. I think he had good intentions. But you could still maybe get cursed from good intentions. But there was already a forecast of rain. There was already storm clouds in the sky. So yeah, I better go. And then there was a few sprinkles, and I got a little bit wet, but not very much. So I had to leave right then and come back home. Yeah, at this center, I didn't do any of the activities. I just talked to this man. We were discussing several things, and there was new familiar enemies, and we made a plan to meet. Then I went back to the soup kitchen. By the time I got home, I was only home for like an hour. And then it was pouring down rain. Then it was soaking wet. Then I go back to the soup kitchen. Puppy man I'll say the crazy man with the puppies. I don't mean any disrespect. But this is a man, one of the first things he said to me is if somebody stole my puppies, I'd murder them and their family. Okay? So that was one of the first things he said to me. It was like the first, second, or third sentence that he said. Okay, now I wasn't afraid, but then, now I'm going to call him Puppy Man. Okay, this is Puppy Man. He mentioned, I heard him say something like he's got a daughter and that's why he got these puppies. His story is always changing, but I think he got the puppies because I like puppies and I like dogs. And then that will cause us to talk, and if I say the wrong thing, this is a crazy Puppy Man, then he might decide that he wants to murder, I don't know. But he's not going to. He's not allowed to. God won't let this happen. God won't let this happen. The end times is not the same as what happened in the past. The end times is God's judgment, vindication, and justice. They're trying to replay a crucifixion, which may or may not have even happened the way they said it did, because I don't believe that Jesus physically felt any pain. If his body went through this, I think God saved him from feeling the pain. But anyways, and this is based on other stories, and that God is good. But they're trying to replay this. And the end times, that's not what happens. In the end times, the Christ's army defeats the enemy. God renders judgment. Let's see. So then when it was time to go, oh, there was a cookie curse. I better write that down, a cookie curse. Yeah, they got me. I better write that down. I almost forgot. So, there's a man there, and I think he's kind of in the middle. He still works for the enemy. And then I saw like some indication he was starting to come to my side. But they're really using heavy witchcraft lately. So he did something which was part of an attack, or letting me know of what the attack. I think it was part of the attack on me, of speaking the spell. So I got there at the soup kitchen, and it wasn't very much food. They just gave me a little bit. So when I went through the line, the dinner was small. So I just got like a little scoop of pasta and a piece of chicken, and I wasn't going to eat the bun. It was a small dinner. It wasn't enough food. And so they call in seconds, and so I had my cookies left and like a bite of chicken. So I finished the chicken. This was like 1 minute or less before I stood up. Then, normally only a few people go up for seconds. This day, like the whole kitchen, this was another attack on me. Like the whole kitchen, a line of like 25 people got up, and they got up for seconds. And then the man that was in front of me, who I was talking about, said, the cookies, these are the best the cookies are the best. He said this. And so then I know, look at this long line. They're going to try to eat up all the stuff I like, and it'll be gone. That's what they're doing. They gave out the $20 when I wasn't there. They said the food was gone, or they said the food was good. So when I get there, the food wasn't good, and everything was pork, or it's a delicious pancake with metal shavings and a nail in it. Now, only mine. And so she went through and gave them to everybody. So they were all gone. I didn't even have another one. I get the bad one, and then she quickly gives them out to everybody else. But it could have been she gave it to me first, because she seems to like me the best. But I don't know at this point. Anyways, I think she's good. But certain things have happened, like it could have been, she didn't know there was anything wrong with it. Came and gave it to me first, and she said it so sweet and caring, and then gave them all out, because that's what she was going to do. But I thought as I got it, this one looks like it's got some spots on it. And the other ones don't, and I was a little unhappy. I should have said something then, but I didn't. I took it. But you know, it was supposed to happen. It would have been inappropriate to say, give me the one below. She already put it on my plate. You couldn't really tell before that. But anyways, the line's going slow. By the time I get up there, there is no cookie tray. All the cookies are gone. They came in like vultures. They don't even want seconds most of the time. But they knew. They put just a very small amount of food on my plate. So I was going to go back and get more. And then the man said, the cookies are the best. Cookies were gone. And I go through the line and like, and so I'll just take a chicken. He said, actually, I was going to get the cookies with it. They came and pulled out another dessert, which was some type of sweet bread. It looked kind of like banana bread or something. And they were opening it, and I just kept walking. I don't like banana bread. Yuck. Yuck. Actually, I hate banana bread. It's like unhealthy, and it doesn't taste good. But anyways, so I kept walking. And I got the chicken. And so actually, I'm just here for the chicken. I said, I really came up here for the cookies, but they're all gone. And the other woman was trying to get the dessert out. I didn't take it. And I left. She said she liked the cookies. So she told her I like the cookies. And I kind of went, like when she said, there's a cake. You see that cake? And I kind of went, and I kind of made a rude face with I made a rude face. So these must be the pork spirits today. I must have had pork spirits. Because I normally know, like, I wouldn't do this. But I know this was an attack. They swooped in like vultures. The whole kitchen stood up immediately, like this is their coordinated attack. Maybe this was the payout. They came in and gave them all $20. And so they paid them all $20 at lunch. And so they were there for dinner. And when they called seconds, they stood up and got in front of me real quick and got all the cookies. I wouldn't be surprised. This is exactly the type of thing they do. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because this is the first time when they call seconds, normally only a few people go up. But this time, like, the whole kitchen stood up and got in line really fast. This does not happen. And this is the same day they've handed out the $20 bills. I am just putting this together now. So, anyways, then I didn't even eat the chicken. Like, I finished my cookies in the line. So I wouldn't, because I saw this people stand, I ate my bites of chicken, and then I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people in line. I'm just going to go up. And then while I was in line waiting, I had 2 cookies, and I just ate them as I was going through the line, and they were gone. And then I wasn't really hungry. And I go up to ask for a foil. To put my chicken in and take it home. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't eat enough food, but I just got full all of a sudden. But I know I'll be hungry in like an hour or something. And that there was a container just sitting there on the counter. I knew this was cursed. Cursed container. This was sitting there for someone to put their leftovers in and take. And they wanted me to take it. But all I had was a piece of chicken breast. This container was not good because it would still need a foil to go over the top. And it was kind of like wasting the container, because if you got the pasta or something, then you would need a container because it was rounded. You would need that type of container to put pasta in. But I had a piece of chicken. Just one foil was best for that. And they didn't want to give me it first. I said, oh, well, I said, that's better for someone with pasta. I said, just a piece of foil is best. Then they brought me the foil. I wrapped the chicken up, put it in my bag. Because, see, I'm on a bicycle. So if I have an open container and I put a chicken in it, it's going to fall out, or it's going to fall in my bag and get everything greasy. It really is not ideal. And I'd need to put a foil on it anyways. But they had it sitting there so I could just go up and grab it because I wasn't hungry anymore. And they noticed I was coming up, so they put it there. And it was cursed. They're really trying to get me here at the last minute before Passover or something. But, let's see, what was it? But I didn't touch the container, and I didn't take it. I said, well, there's pasta. This is really good for pasta. I just have a piece of chicken. This is better for a foil, And then they gave it to me, so I did not take the container. I believe that was cursed. They never have a container just sitting there. When it's just sitting there for someone to use, it's a curse. You always have to ask. And they wouldn't want to leave it out anyway because somebody could throw it away or get it dirty. So as I'm going through the line, the witch, I'm going to say witch. I'm not sure, but I really think so. She's friends with the narcissist. She said, happy birthday again. What kind of witchcraft is, and they speak in reverse. She said, happy birthday to me again. I said, oh, it wasn't my birthday. There was 2 other people. It was their birthday. And she was like making a joke, because she said happy birthday to me yesterday. So I'm thinking, as these people are witches, this is probably some death spell. Because they tried to murder me yesterday. They said, happy birthday to me yesterday. I said, it's not my birthday. And then they said, happy birthday to me again. If this is in reverse, then it'd be happy death day. I don't know. I reject that. I reject that. I know, that it was not good intentions. They've never said this before. And they're really trying to get me here at the last minute. So they said, happy birthday again. And I'm like, what kind of witchcraft is this? Because they speak in reverse sometimes. I don't know. But anyways, it starts pouring down rain even more. So then when it's time to go, it's just raining a lot. And of course, I'm on a bike. I'm going to have to bike in the rain. I'm going to get all wet. And then I got to get my key to undo my bike. So this is another attack. There's 8 people standing out. I saw the veteran and his friend, and I just kind of smiled at them as they left. I did not talk to them. I didn't talk to them today or anything. But then I went out onto the when you open the doors, it's like a covered, it's not really a patio, it's small. It's just like the top step is large, and it has an awning over it. So there's people standing there. The puppy man puppy man was there with his puppies. There was a couple other people, and there was another man I didn't recognize, and he was smoking a cigarette. I'm like, great. It's pouring down rain. I got to get my key out. I don't want to be smelling this cigarette. And I know they do this. Sometimes they follow me and have somebody smoke a cigarette right next to me, so I have to breathe it in. I don't want to be breathing this in. I do want to be healthy, even though they poison me all the time. And this is just another little attack. And he's got a cigarette. And then I get my key. I go to unlock my bike, and I get my lock off. And then I go back under the canopy again, because I need to put the key back in my bag, and I don't want to get my bag soaking wet. It's pouring down rain. This would only take like maybe 10 seconds or so. But I don't want to do it in the rain. That much rain is coming down. And I'm back up on this patio again with Puppy Man and like several other people and the smoker. You're not supposed to smoke right next to the door. And I mentioned, and I said this, you're not supposed to smoke here. So you're not supposed to, you shouldn't smoke here on all these other people. And then I said this again, and then Puppy Man, who's the crazy man, is like, yeah, and I just mind my own business. And I said, and he said something like, how to just mind your. He didn't tell me to mind He didn't tell me to mind my business. He says he just minded his own business. He says I just mind my own business. And I said he's making it my business when he's blowing smoke onto all of us, onto all these people. He's making it my business. He says you're talking to me. He wasn't mean or anything. And I said that's not right to smoke here on all these people. Right next to the door. That's not right to smoke here on all these people. There's probably people waiting for the bus. They're getting smoked on. And there's puppies here that are getting smoked on. And I think that's why I got so angry. Is because these little puppies are right there. And he's smoking on them. And he's like, she wants me to go and smoke in the rain? To go and smoke it? I said, that's not right to smoke on these people. And then the crazy Puppy Man is like, he just like kind of firmly said, he wasn't mean, he wasn't pushover. He said, I just mind my own business. It's not my business. I just mind my own business. I said he's making it my business when I'm breathing in this smoke. He's making it my business. So yeah, I did. I confronted crazy murder Puppy Man. And then there was another woman there on the balcony. I think she was smoking too, and I didn't realize it. She actually went down the steps and started smoking in the rain after I said this. God bless her. I think she's an enemy or doesn't really like me, but she heard that and she went out and she started smoking in the rain. God bless you. If she did this, may God bless her. May God bless her. This man, I don't know if he went down or not. He was like, he was like, why would somebody ask me to go and smoke in the rain? He's blowing smoke onto all the people under the awning. Like this awning is only like 4 foot by 4 foot, or maybe 3 foot by 3 foot. It's small. So he's smoking on all these people and the puppy. And then like, I don't want to breathe this in. And then he said, he didn't want to go and smoke in the rain. Like, what? Do you expect me to go and smoke in the rain? And then I go get on my bike and I bike home in the rain and I zip off. Now, as I said this, the veteran's friend comes out. Because they probably have heard that I just told Crazy Puppy Murder Man is that he said something, and I said something to him back. And I said, it is my business. Said he's making it my business. It's them's fighting words. And then I zipped off. I left. But the one woman listened. She left, and probably because they got what they wanted, some type of reaction. But the thing is, I wasn't rude to Puppy Man. I just wasn't a pushover. And I told him. Shouldn't smoke. I said, that's not right to smoke on these people, and I left. And that's the truth. He was smoking on little puppies. Like, it's okay if an adult wants to stand there, but, like, there's puppies there. And I don't want to breathe it in. I had to go up there. I'm trying not to breathe this in. I had smoked before, and I quit. I don't want to smell cigarettes. But, anyways. So then, and I left. And then as I'm leaving, I saw the veteran's friend came out. Probably surprised to hear, oh, I did say, I did say, that's not right to smoke here. And I told that man a few times, I said, don't smoke here on these people. And this isn't a Karen thing. This is rude and disrespectful. They do this stuff to attack me, but it was actually hurting other people. It was hurting other people to get me. He was smoking on the puppies. It's like, that is really bad for little puppies. They're only a couple weeks old. Maybe they're like 6 weeks or so, or like just old enough to go into a new home or something. So I've been home. I did actually sell a couple of items. That's great. It's late. I'm gonna have to go to bed. Tomorrow is a Jewish holiday, and they said they would pick me up for dinner. I don't know if they still will, because they seemed like to know something in the spirit and to not like me anymore. Maybe it was always a setup. There's been some clues and some things I noticed. But anyways, there is a Seder meal, and they're going to try to do the biblical Passover meal. And that's important, and I want to go to that, and I want to know what that is. They said they would pick me up. Well, if they don't pick me up, I can just bike there. It's not very far. It's not very far for me. But they're trying to kill me before this Passover. And what is Good Friday? And then there's Easter Sunday. So they might try to kill me tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe they will try to kill me again. Because the last Sunday feeding, when I was there, the juice was poisoned. So if Good Friday was, then you got Easter Sunday. I gotta look up what, honestly, I don't know what these holidays are. I don't know if this meant, like, this is the day Jesus died, this is the day Jesus was resurrected. I don't know. I don't know what Seder and Passover. I don't understand. I tried to look it up and I forgot. But I probably should look this up. They've been really, like, enemies that were defeated and taken out. They are trying to bring in, like, anyone that's left. Anyone that hasn't been dealt with yet, they're trying to send in at the last minute to try to get me. So I'm going to go. This is a biblical holiday, and they were trying to do the biblical feast. And like I always said, I want to do this. I'm alone, and I don't know how to. And they invited me and offered me a ride. How wonderful is that? But maybe I should just bike there and not take the ride. I don't know. But, of course, they're doing eggs. I think a Bible-believing church should not be doing egg hunts. I don't think they should. This is what the pagan disbelievers did. I don't think that's right. But if you celebrate them both, it's not as bad. But most churches don't celebrate the biblical holidays, and they just celebrate the pagans. Those are the ones that follow blood sacrifice and worship. If the Antichrist is Paul, and I did hear someone say this, it's like, yeah, there can be many Antichrists. Anything that's against God is, anything against the Holy Spirit is Antichrist. Well, if there's one Antichrist, then it would probably be Paul. That's who all the Christians worship. Well, maybe there's a few, but the mainstream Christians worship Paul. And they want the remnant to suffer, trying to murder the remnant, and they celebrate all the pagan holidays. So they're practicing black magic and celebrating the pagan holidays. It's just paganism rebranded. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay, I better get off here. Thanks for watching. God bless you.